all the timelines that ever were and ever have been and ever will be created already exist concurrently.
At what moment does humanity realize that we are not as separate as we thought? And in doing so, that ends things such as war, as racism, as things that remove us from our neighbors.
If the spirit contains the soul, and the soul contains the mind, and the mind contains the body, that's a little bit opposite of what you've been taught, is it not?
And in the face of that, we could feel the tension of the nervous system of humanity.
Be excited for what you feel is new, but be calm, because what you feel is new has been done multiple times. And you are masters of this change.
Pamela Aaralyn, welcome back on Just Tap In. We've already done this 3 times. You know I gotta ask you, but what are you most excited about right now globally and in your life?
We were discussing this a little bit before we came on, and I'm excited for the next 2 decades. The council with whom I work often states that we are in a bit of a gray zone, attempting to embody what we want to create next and not really knowing what we want that to look like. But lately, we have been deciding what we want that to look like, and that is what the golden era is all about. We've been having our own personal and collective visions and ideas. And according to the council, the future looks really good, particularly in 2032, all the way into 2044. That's a long time. That's 2 decades. Many have been waiting a very long time on a golden era. An era with less strife and struggle and pain, and we are approaching it, and we can also speed up that timeline. That's the other exciting thing. It doesn't have to be 2032. We can speed up the golden era and work towards it now with more sacred convergence, more sacred action, more inner work, and more collaborations and work together, like what we're all doing today with each other, and building the vibration to be able to hold as we decide what we want to create. And that is exciting globally for me. Personally, I'm excited about being here today, and I'm also excited about coming to the channel panel in Escondido, California, and getting to meet some awesome people like Alunia Noel and amazing people there that will be coming between May 8th and the 10th.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love to hear that. And what I get right now, and what's coming through from that answer there is golden era is sticking out to me, and I really want to dive deep into what that means to you and the council of what a golden era is. Era probably signifies that we've been there before. So what does this upcoming golden era really signify in the larger scale of things?
A return to our roots, a deeper remembrance of who we are and who we were without consumerism, without wars, without so much strife, without so much division. A time when we didn't have to really be overly consumed or worried about things like money and food and anything that we're worried about today. It's a world with less consumerism and more sharing. It's a world with incredibly, wonderfully, beautifully invigorating medical technologies. Technologies that come all the way from our Mayan ancestors and will be remembered again. Plasma energy technologies, imaging technologies, medical healing technologies. A time when we create a way to heal ourselves without having to rely upon some former painful medical systems like expensive health insurance plans. We're just going in a beautiful new direction. It's new and old simultaneously. It's new because of the new technologies, but it's ancient because our ancestors did the same. We just don't remember. And we are beginning to awaken and remember.
you call this era the rise of the sovereign human. And what I've also heard in tandem to that you said is that persistent instability becomes the new normal for us now. And so if we take sovereignty in the face of instability, what can emerge from the human and the future humans that are coming as well with those two attributes, instability and sovereignty?
Well, it doesn't have to be instability. That's the thing. It's unstable when we have an incoherent nervous system, an out of balance nervous system. So when we begin to think about spiritual awakening and healing as an embodied process, full coherence happens. And with nervous system stability, then instead of instability, we begin to create flow, radical acceptance, where things can happen to us and we integrate whatever karmic lesson, whatever pain there is to heal, and whatever there is to learn, we do so instantaneously because of radical acceptance. And then we manifest from a state of flow, not from a state of instability. So the instability only comes from the third density experiences of the world you're seeing around you. It's not actually coming from you, from most of you watching this program. It's not coming from you. You're seeing it, and you're seeing just sort of the dying ends of a supernova. You know what I mean? That's it. And I know supernovas can appear large and scary, but it's not blowing you up. It's blowing up the old paradigm. Does that make sense? It's not killing you. It's killing an older paradigm. So that we actually have room to create and manifest into the golden era, into sovereignty. But we're feeling our sovereignty more than ever, which is wonderful.
Yeah. What signs do you see in your reality that these new systems, these new paradigms are beginning to, from the grassroots, start sprouting out and impact and influence more people and reach more people?
I'm seeing people just not take the bait. Generally speaking, like personally and professionally, I'm seeing when fear is offered, you absolutely radically declining it. I'm just seeing all around me. When fear is offered, you're turning the other way and you're not running in fear. You're just saying, no, thank you. And your energy fields are cleaner. Your auric fields. Physically, people are starting to embody their spiritual awakening more. You know, and that's just from the perspective of watching the world around me personally. But when I look at the bigger collective of what's happening, I can also see people accepting and denying what they want to accept and deny collectively. That they're saying, you know what, actually, I won't join your war. You know what, you're going to, blow up a country, you're going to do it alone. If you're going to attempt to take people's culture away from them, we're not going to support you. People are standing up to political madness and regimes. They're standing up on both sides of the fence. And again, I say this often on your show, I'm not liberal, I'm not Republican. I'm an anarchist, just for anyone wondering. Because our new form of government is going to be with individuals, not well-known politicians and leaders, but individuals working together and creating sovereign change together. And that's what I see about the golden era, and I'm seeing people begin to do that for themselves and their families and their local communities, and that gives me a lot of hope for where we're going.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you've been widely connected to and are a spokesperson for this Galactic Council that comprises of many different beings, intergalactic, interdimensional, from different species as well, off planet. And I'm really curious to know how the messages that have been coming through from the council have maybe changed and maybe have surprised you around how those messages are coming through now.
They've been talking a lot more about who they actually are and that they are us, that they are evolved humans, that they evolve from humans. They don't wish to present themselves as a higher vibration than us or different than us. It's just an evolutionary state of being. And they are us in the future. So with that in mind, of course, they have our best interests in mind, because if we aren't going in a direction that's positive. They want to step in and assist. And they have been stepping in. People have been having experiences with them, and they come and tell me, I'm having experiences with your council, and I'm seeing them in our skies. And it's been wonderful. Also, some members of the council, Venusian in particular, members who talk to me personally, but they've never really come through before, with my community or anywhere. Not here, not on any shows I've been on. They would typically be more quiet, the Venusian levels of the council. And suddenly one of them is coming and speaking up. So that's been new as well, because she's all about sound technologies, sound and light and color. She's all about the medicine of the future. She's telling us where we're evolving towards and why we're evolving as humans, and that we don't have to be concerned about AI taking us over, that we don't have to be concerned about transhumanism in the regard that many are, that we don't have to be concerned or to go in a negative direction, like we're just naturally evolving. So that's been fun to talk to Nathea, the Venusian member of the council, about that, and to just be given hope towards our evolution biologically, physiologically, psychologically.
Yeah, maybe we'll get the chance to talk to her today.
You're welcome to talk to her anytime you want.
For sure. Thank you. And, before even getting into that, I know in the beginning you were mentioning how it doesn't have to be 2032, 2044. Like a lot of people are, what I'm feeling into in the collective is like we're ready for it, and we can accelerate these timelines. Mm-hmm. And for someone, I just saw a glitch on your screen that kind of tells me that was a yes. And what I wanted to dive in there with you is you have a really wide understanding of the true mechanics of time and how timelines are created, accelerated, bridged with other timelines. So if we were looking at, how you've understood this from the mystical laws of the universe, how are we implied and deeply intertwined with how these timelines are created, rather than putting a future event out there and actually drawing it to us, like Joe Dispenza's taught, drawing it to us. How do you see that overview of the mechanics of time?
Well, I view it as something in between. We're actually not creating, we're remembering something and then drawing in a timeline that already exists. But the fun is, because we don't remember, it feels beautifully new to us. All the timelines that ever were and ever have been and ever will be created already exist concurrently. And our vibration into all the different fractals of our divinity, whether it be human or galactic, will pull us towards certain timelines, both individually and collectively. So we have individual timelines, and then we have collective timelines. But what I'm observing that's new is that individuals are saying, you know what? I don't care how many people are in a negative, painful, unhelpful, fragmented reality, a third density potential. I don't want to be a part of it. And they are withdrawing themselves from those contracts by the droves. They are rewriting timeline contracts and saying, you know what? I individually will not participate in genocide, in war, in bombings, in narcissism. I will not participate in consumerism. I will not participate in painful things. And that was never the case before. Like, that's what's new about the golden era. We all collected and we were affected collectively in timelines. Now we're starting to branch off and say, you know what? There's enough of us creating new individual timelines that are positive and helpful, that we strengthen, we collaborate, we go into what you're calling convergence. And we take all of our timelines that were only helpful for us individually in our sovereignty and are now helpful for millions to billions of people collectively for sovereignty, when we begin to converge our wants and needs and excitements and desires and our potentials together. And it can't be done individually anymore. We're creating individual into collective, and then we're changing really yucky collective stuff that you're seeing all over the news right now. We're changing that.
Hello, beautiful family. Quick one today. I just wanted to take a moment to thank each and every one of you that have subscribed to this channel. Your subscription means more than you know. Even though it's free, what you're doing is you're empowering a whole channel to be able to do this every single day and continue showing up in the way that we can with all of our resources on hand. Thank you for contributing to the growth of this channel, for sharing it with the people that you love, for creating a conscious movement of individuals that are seeking the sovereignty and the divinity of their soul. This is why we're here. And if you haven't already and you're enjoying this content, I invite you now to look below on that little button that says subscribe and welcome you properly to this community. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being who you are and being pure love and radiating that with everyone that you see. Back to the episode. What is the biggest thing that you feel that we are changing in those yucky scenarios and things that we're seeing? You know, and I don't even watch the news, but because I am on social media and that's part of my work as well, I'm seeing all these reports, all these things that are happening. A lot of things are coming to the surface right now. And in the face of that, we could feel the tension of the nervous system of humanity. We could feel people feel that constriction and tension, that constriction is ultimately what doesn't allow us to be free. So in your eyes, in your perspective, how are we changing when these things get confronted to us in the outside world?
We're starting from within. We're changing what we're capable of changing. And what we're not capable of changing collectively, we send love towards. We send forgiveness towards. We send compassion towards with no guilt, because one person, 5 people, 10 people may not be able to change a bomb in Iran, right? Because those structures are shifting. But we can send love, we can send compassion, we can send practical levels of support like money and time and our hearts and our service, right? We do what we can, and we send love and forgiveness and compassion and service towards what we can. And then we go and say, you know what? This is a world that I want to be different for my children, my children's children, my neighbor's children if you don't have children. When we're thinking about the innocent animals and children of the earth and we want to hold them in that purity, we're creating new food systems, we're creating new medical systems, we're creating different ways to work on our health. You know, we're creating natural ways to work on our health so that we don't end up in the ER someday and dependent upon a third density medical program to save us or an insurance plan. We're creating ways to sovereignly break out of 3D patterns of political pain, war-based pain, pain from the financial and healthcare systems. And we're starting to empower ourselves with more natural views in our healthcare and how we treat our bodies, and what foods we put into our bodies, and what beliefs we put into our minds and hearts. We're starting to reject painful beliefs more and to become a lot more aware of those painful beliefs, so that we can choose differently, and we are choosing differently. And that starts at the individual level before we see it really grow into the larger collective changes.
Yeah, and when I hear and see people in my reality like you that represent a template of the new human, based on the presence that you bring, the activations that you have within you, I really want to understand, because people that are new to your work maybe today are gonna see some of those things that you bring through, like connecting with the future humans, the Galactic Councils. Was there a moment in your life that you feel that prepared you for stepping into this new template of what the human, I believe, will look like more and more in the future down the line? And we're already seeing children that are being born now just completely open and activated, remembering who they are. So was there a moment that prepared you for all this?
So many moments. I mean, I am the typical human in that regard, where when I see my children suffer, those are moments of opportunity, particularly to try to break free from the mental health care system. When we went into a different space of emotional healing, spiritual healing, physical healing that did not involve the American medical healthcare system, that was a game changer for my family. That was a game changer to see, you know what, some of my kids would actually feel worse in certain medical systems, particularly mental health care systems. And to see them deny that and to realize that they were worse in the system which we're supposed to trust, they became anarchists as well. But gentle anarchists, not massive catalysts like I typically am, that they became just watching them become just saying no and saying, you know what, I prefer a peptide over an antidepressant. That was a big deal for me. It was a big deal for me.
Right.
And just like watching how my children handle the world. The biggest moment as a human, more than the awakening moments at age 5, when I met all my guides, more than those moments, I was so invigorated and excited and happy just to watch my own children come into themselves and say no to the painful third density paradigms which we're watching fall apart around us. Those have been recent moments to prepare me for what's coming in the world. Because when children are doing a better job adulting than adults, I just go, wow, I'm so excited. Like, I don't care if you got it from me or if you got it from all the guides around you. I don't care how you got it. It's not me tooting my horn about parenting. I'm not that great. Like, I've made my mistakes. But to watch them evolve beyond what I was experiencing when I was their ages just blows my mind. And to watch them become these powerfully open, loving human beings who give and serve, that's what's preparing me. Watching children and animals prepare me more than anything else. Any mystical experience, any childhood experience, any spiritual awakening experience, any samadhi experience, anything. Just watching children daily is preparing me for the golden era in the future.
It's powerful, Pamela. Thanks. Because also I'm tuning in when you connect with these future humans that are in the year 2040, 2050, they're probably babies right now or haven't even been born yet.
Yeah.
And so being so close, because maybe for people that are new, we can explain a little bit of your process when you go to the future. But when you've come across these beings, these future humans, seeing them must also be very gratifying because they're children right now. And so they're probably adults in that timeline, but they are actually babies at this point. So you must be like a proud mom in that sense to see these friends of yours that you've made in future timelines step into a new iteration of what it means to be human.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely proud of them, and I'm proud of us. And oftentimes I just tell my children, well, when I'm out of here, out of this world, and this body is no more, I do want you to remember what the future humans said and what the council said as well, because they are us in the future. Because they have been trying to guide us all along that we're headed in a good direction. And to accept anything but could be painful. If we focus in on who we choose to become, and we choose powerful, positive, loving timelines, we're going to be exactly in the right place. We're going to be in the golden era. We're going to be in the vision of the future that I've been shown when I bilocate, right? So we have to hone in on that if we want it, and do it together.
Yeah, hold the vision. Hold the vision is what's coming repeatedly to me as well. As to your process as well, when you bilocate, as you mentioned, what is that for you and for people to understand? Maybe they're also doing it in their own vicinity, in their own homes, or they're seeing others in their life do it as well. These are innate capacities, innate abilities that we have. But it's fascinating at the same time. It's like, I feel like a part of the Avengers movies, right? Like, it's real, guys. We can do this stuff. So yeah, I would love to open the space for you to share with us what that process has been like.
Yeah. That was something I did not open up to until age 40. So I've had 10 years of experience only. Unlike everything else with working with the council, bilocating was difficult. It took, about 15 years of training, about 15 years of yoga, Eastern yoga. It took a lot of breath training, a lot of pratyahara and pranayam, and working with the different limbs of yoga. But I started out with remote viewing, just seeing if I could center in and doing the proper psychic energy hygiene necessary, the grounding, the centering, the cleansing, the protection, and centering into the timeline with intention and breath, and using the law of three. So when you use the law of three and you center in and you say the same thing and your intention is the same 3 times, you draw in that reality to you. And in that way, you use your human senses thereafter. When you begin to see and remote view a timeline, whether you're going into the past or the future, you're going to have to create something that's reverent to you. But activate your senses. I particularly love, there's a process that I teach called Close Encounters of the First Kind. Mm-hmm. And the first kind is us, like our soul. And we have to get to know ourselves. One of the greatest cosmic laws is know thyself. So when you're trying to really amp yourself up and prepare yourself for this process, remember the 3 decrees that have been taught in the greatest mystery schools for humans. The first one, know thyself. Get to know your senses. Get to know what it's like, what your sense of smell is like, what your sense of touch, what your sense of emotion and feeling is like. Get to know everything about yourself. Know what you're afraid of, because you're going to encounter it in the astral realm. 100,000% positive on that. Mm-hmm. So know your psychic protection mechanism and what works for you. Know what grounds you. Know what centers you. Know yourself, right? The second degree that you're going to need to work on is about consumerism. So in that decree, it says nothing in excess. So most people call that everything in moderation in that cosmic rule, but nothing in excess means nothing. Yes, my friends, you can meditate too much. Yeah. So you can do too many breathing practices, but you can also, do a little bit too much Netflix or doom scrolling or things like that. So the psychic energy hygiene is nothing in excess, absolutely nothing. Center into yourself. Try some quiet meditation. Try sitting with yourself in complete silence. Things like that. It'll help you prepare. Those first 2 decrees of the mysteries, those first 2 cosmic laws will help you so much. Now the third one, it's very old, so please forgive my ancient English and the interpretation, but this is what the cosmic law says: make a promise and mischief is nigh. I'll say it again: make a promise and mischief is nigh. N-I-G-H, Old English, been around a while. What that means is everything you say can become a promise, and promises can become vows. And you can repeat cycles in your mind and in your body, in your health, in your finances, in your relationships. So your thoughts become your words, and this is deep cosmic rule. Your thoughts are powerful energies. Everything that you could think already exists, so don't worry about creating something bad for you. But your thoughts become your words. Your thoughts become your emotions. Your emotions create beliefs. Beliefs create karma. That trickles into words, which trickles into actions, and actions manifest everything that you see around you. So essentially speaking, that from the universal law perspective, it's all about the universal law of manifestation and the universal law of reflection. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, when we're aware of what we're thinking and feeling, our beliefs, which later become words and actions, are already in our sovereignty. That's in our control, which that's going to help you a lot as well to prepare yourself for astral travel. But next it goes into astral travel, and then it goes into remote viewing. And then eventually, if you create some sort of ritual that's important to you that activates your senses, and your nervous system is calm and clean and clear and protected and grounded, you're going to easily begin to create your light body, and your light body densifies into the timeline of your choice strictly by intention and using the law of 3 and calling it out 3 times. So in that sense, portals are going to happen around you. Do not be afraid. You're going to feel a gentle pull, or if you're really strong with travel, you might get yanked. Either way, do not be afraid. I get yanked. I'm one of those that when I travel, I start, everything happens. And I come back into my body, I jerk, and it's awkward. And fun to watch, but not fun on the body if you're not grounded. So as long as your nervous system is grounded and you've got clearing and purification and centering and protection going on, these things are going to happen. But when your body densifies via your intention into a timeline of your choosing, you have to choose it and be clear. You're going to feel weird things. It's going to feel a fragmented. It's the best way I can describe it. It's like a fragmented feeling because you're still here. There's a Pamela in the chair, and there could be a Pamela in 2032 talking to her friends, her future humans. And they're both valid. Now, don't be afraid. You're already doing this. Yogis have known this for thousands of years in India and Tibet. This isn't a new process, right? But if you have any attachment towards time being real, you're going to struggle to get back home. So ground and take away your unique personal attachments to time. And then you'll be fine. Then work with your senses. When you get there, work with your senses. Try to work on tasting food, touching things, smelling things. When I first started, I would touch things or people, and I would immediately get yanked back because I wasn't grounded enough. No one could touch me. And it was a struggle because some of my future friends have dogs and cats, and I'm an animal person, and they like me, and they want to, cats rubbing against my leg could make it happen. Or if I would try to eat food, that could make it happen. Or if I'd fall asleep, it would be just like I just woke up in my own bed and then I'm out of it. I'm not in the future anymore. Right.
And that's when the Avengers recruit you. Or the government.
I prefer the Avengers, thank you.
But yeah, Nick Fury is better than a man in a black suit. I would love, and I thank you so much for that really practical grounding advice around how to actually do this work.
Start there.
Yeah.
And then you get the astral travel, and then the remote viewing happens. And then eventually when your senses are on fire and when you can actually touch people and not be pulled back into your form, that's how you know you're actually bilocating. You'll be able to sleep there. You'll be able to manipulate time so that you can be there for months and still wake up in your timeline, and only 8 hours have passed when you can have 2 months. During 8 hours of this timeline, you'll be with your friends for 2 months chilling and learning.
It's wild to me and fascinating. It brings up so much curiosity. And I don't think you'd be able to do this if you didn't have that childlike curiosity to want to know these things and go to the future and no explore.
Fear. And not have any fears. You and I were talking about before about one of my kids had this experience, and he was like, it was so real. And I was in 2016, and I'm like, what if it was real? He was like, oh gosh, what if it was? If it was real, like, what if I would have gotten stuck there? I'm like, well, obviously you didn't. Even if you don't consciously know how to get back, your soul knows how to get back. Right. So don't be afraid. You'll get back.
Yeah, there's universal cosmic laws that don't allow for these things to occur. I wanted to know if you're open and available to bringing Nathia, her name, Nathia, through, and we can ask some questions around what is coming up right now for the Venusians and how they're witnessing this unfolding for humanity. We're here to hold the space for that.
Okay. You want to talk to a council member?
just it's another Friday.
I am Naithia. I am a member of the council who has worked with the Human Conscious Collective for many eons. I am excited for you to remember your I am presence. I wish to bring forth many visions of your future today. But first, let's begin with your queries. What are you curious about? When you stand in the space of wonder, your curiosities prevail and guide you towards your future naturally. You may begin when you wish.
Thank you so much, Naithya, for being here with us. Something that is coming up a lot right now is I feel in the collective people are feeling that they came to Earth specifically for this moment in time, this time frame in our collective timeline. If you could give us any insight as to why that feeling or almost remembrance is coming up so strongly right now for so many.
The remembrance of what precisely? The I am?
That we came here for something big, this moment in time for humanity.
This point in your eon is called the turning point. A time when no one is allowed to be invisible, even if your fears attempt to command it. Remember now that you will be activated for unique, personal, and individual expressions of your I am. This is a time, in one sense, unlike any other, because you don't remember any other. Be excited for that. Be excited for what you feel is new. But be calm, because what you feel is new has been done multiple times. And you are masters of this change. You are excited for the new moment to come, the golden era. The time when you can finally decide upon your peace. Not that you couldn't before, you just didn't remember that you could. The time when you can begin to utilize new technologies, ways of combining sound and color for medical healing, physically and mentally. A time, an eon, wherein cultures will work together. Conditions which were once painful will be no more. New structures for barter and exchange and finances, healthcare, new familial and ceremonial structures will be created. You're creating the most masterful moments for yourselves. And of course, it is something big. You should be very excited. We are excited right along with you. Couldn't have come at a better time.
At what moment does humanity realize that we are not as separate as we thought? And in doing so, that ends things such as war, as racism, as things that remove us from our neighbors. At what moment does humanity realize these things?
That moment is beginning now. Racism is falling. That cultural division is falling. You are beginning to understand how to work together, how to remove the divide, and your unique responsibility to do so. You are understanding that sacred responsibility and sacred action is important. You are beginning to become coherent with your own heart and with the hearts of others surrounding you, and your families and local communities, and that extends into global communities. Right now, you are currently walking upon a timeline for wars to end by 2032. Do not dismay, and do not disregard the power of changing this timeline and making it even much sooner. You could do this in 6 months or less if more of you began to collaborate in heart-centered, sacred actions. When you do that, wars end. All the systems which need to fall begin to fall, and they fall dramatically and quickly. You may ask me, Nithya, why didn't that happen 10 years ago? Well, 10 years ago, you would have been afraid of not having the old financial and political structures, which the wars supported and represented and continued for you. You were afraid of those structures falling. You would be afraid of losing your families, losing your homes, losing your belongings, losing things. Well, you won't have to do that. You won't lose your homes. You will lose healthcare systems, but you won't need them. You will have created beautiful sound and light-based technologies, plasma-based technologies, water-based technologies, technologies for healing, which are created from Venusian equipment and technologies and gifts to you. Where do you think the Rife machine came from? Us. Medical beds are already in existence, but you will begin to be able to create them yourselves. Where do you think those came from? Us. You will begin to create and remember many beautiful biological technologies. You're already utilizing them. They are called biohacking or peptides. They extend your telomeres, and therefore you can reverse age. You're doing that already. Where do you think you got that from? Us. And why did we give it to you? Because you've already done it so masterfully in your parallel realms. It's already happening. We're not interfering. You're already doing this masterfully. And you can shorten the timelines for your remembrance of these things. And things can happen much more quickly. Just follow the protocol of sacred action and working together, collaborating in heart coherence. And it'll happen perhaps much sooner.
What will it take for humanity to become part of the wider galactic community once again? And what shifts in our consciousness need to be met with in order to have that be a part of our reality as well? And why would we even want to be part of the galactic community as well?
You are already a part of a galactic community. You simply do not remember. We are working with you in many other realms right now. Many versions of a fifth density expression of Earth. Many. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. 7 versions of Earth exist. Some are supported by Venusians. Some are supported by Pleiadian. Some are supported by a whole conglomerate of galactic beings. You are already experiencing this. It's just that in this world you haven't remembered yet. That's all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But what it takes for you to remember is something different, okay? So the remembrance, you're embarking upon it now. That's why you feel so excited about these things in the new golden era. Because you've done it so masterfully and are doing it in the other parallel realms of Earth throughout the vast timelines which exist for you. The first thing, heart coherence, individually and collectively. Work together. Individually, do not work against yourself. Do not work against your mind. Do not work against your body. Train your mind and train your body so that it works with your soul. And then your heart will be coherent. Then collaborate with other beings who are also in mind, body, heart coherence. And then you will begin to remember. And you will call it creation. You will call it inventions. You will call it newness, but it will not be. You will begin to remember. The second thing, you must begin to honor the temple that is the mind, body, and soul. Honor it and stand in sacred coherence with others. Honor others as well. You know, some religious structures weren't far off when they said, love thy neighbor. We did not give exceptions for that rule. Love thy neighbor, and if you can't, forgive them. If you can't forgive, stand in the frequency and vibration of compassion. If you cannot be compassionate, pray, meditate, send love or light, or be neutral. Neutrality. Anyone can do any of these things. These are mystical laws. The third thing, release consumerism. Consumerism creates attachment bonds. What are you attaching to? Trauma. When you release consumerism, trauma bonds also are released from you. And karma simply doesn't want to play with you anymore. And you begin to create from what you have called in some of your Eastern structures, Dharma. You create from light and love and goodness and innocence, wonder, curiosity, which is a whole new remembrance for you. We hope you're excited as we are.
Very excited personally. And I did want to ask you what you can tell us about specifically these waves of souls that are being born in between these years of 2026 to 2032. What are they here to teach us the most, and how can we open up to the wisdom and the lessons that they came here to reveal to us?
Waves of who or what? Be more clear.
Waves of souls, so the children being born at this time.
There are 7 new waves, and you may call them new just due to lack of remembrance, but they are galactic beings coming in. Some of you have called them hybrid children. Some of you call them starseed children, Aquarian children, indigo children. They are waves of various galactic souls who come in to help you remember the technology available to you and all of the other 7 available parallel realms of Earth. And they're each different. The technologies they bring are different. The Venusian waves of volunteers coming to your planet bring about technologies that will help you remember light and sound and combinations of light and sound. They will help you remember photonic energy. They will help you remember plasma-based technologies. The Pleiadian beings who are coming are also here to help you remember forgiveness and compassion and love, which we need so much of. We'd say this is still very, very relevant and very important in your current era and timeline. The Andromedan starseed souls are here uniquely to help you remember sovereignty so that you can liberate yourself from your attachments and judgments, attachments to older painful structures politically, financially, and religiously. This leads to sovereignty. Lyrans, also called in their divine architecture and archetype, keepers. Keepers hold ancient wisdom holy so that nothing can be destroyed that would be utterly a part of your grand sacred design. You also have Arcturians coming. And that's new. Arcturians typically don't come here. We can discuss those reasons if you wish, but you do have new waves of Arcturian hybrid children and starseed souls arriving upon your planet because they are here to help you understand neutrality and oneness and to help you understand that you are parts of a whole, like gears and cogs and wheels in a grand cosmic machine. Understanding that is going to be very important. They bring about neutrality and wisdom. The frequency of wisdom is strong within them. And again, there are so many more.
If we begin to talk about the new Earth systems that are arising, as we were talking with Pamela earlier, that they are already emerging, especially through the technological pieces. What are those new Earth systems that you feel most excited to see humanity carry out in this specific Earth, parallel Earth, that we're a part of?
Well, one of the reasons why we agreed to come and be your voice today for this council is because Venusian health systems, healing systems, and vibrational activation systems are very exciting. We are truly honored that you are beginning to remember the importance of technology. We are truly honored to help you remember the technology of the soul itself and why it is created and how it actually contains the mind and the body, not the other way around. If the spirit contains the soul contains the mind and the mind contains the body, that's a little bit opposite of what you've been taught, is it not? So in this space, when you get that, when you understand that, you understand how easy it is to navigate the nervous system, to heal the mind and the body. And between the combinations of our sound and light technologies, our plasma technologies, through the combinations of working together, you will create new healthcare systems, and health is of utmost importance right now as you go into the golden era.
Why so?
Because many are still utterly attached to older medicines, which are toxic, which are dampening and containing and restricting your nervous system along with your physiological system. It's shortening the telomeres, not lengthening them. It is dampening the DNA. So many of you are still attached to and addicted to pharmaceuticals. It's time to make that change. We are here to help you with that. We are watching your science change. We're watching you integrate natural forms of peptides which already occur in your body. We're watching you biohack your health mentally and physically. We're watching you get off of ADHD medications and replace them with natural peptides already found in your body. We are watching you replace psychiatric care with rife systems and new forms of rife systems as well. We are watching you completely biohack the mind and the body so that you remember that they are under your control. They are under your soul's control, not the other way around. You have to be healthy in order to enjoy a new earth. And you're starting there.
What becomes then of our aging process and our lifespans?
Your aging process is backing up. You are reverse engineering the physiological and the mental. You are becoming younger.
If there's anything that anyone at home can implement in terms of these technologies of healing, of sound, of light, that they could do in their own home without necessarily needing to go out and buy anything, what would you say to that?
White noise. Start there. Work with the color white. Work with the colors of nature that you see often. Work with the primary colors and combine those colors with white noise. This will bring forth the ultimate clearing of the energy fields, and then you will be prepared for everything else that follows.
Thank you. I typically never ask this, but is there anything around my own personal soul mission that you would like to share with me at this time, also for the whole community that we're serving?
You are a weaver of light. A weaver is a rare archetype which combines the architecture of ancient codes. You are remembering the ancient and embodying it forward. You are very young for such wisdom. Remember, we hope that this activation will help you understand the codes which follow. They will come through the various languages of sound and light. They will come through various codes and writings. They will come through movements in forms of Shakti and experiences of movement in your hands and body. And once that floodgate opens, you can't close Pandora's box, so please have fun. It all is fun, is it not?
It is. I'm here to play. To end this beautiful transmission with you, what is the most beautiful vision of our future humanity that you would like to share us in order for us to be able to hold this vision in our hearts and actually bring that vision forward, remember it even deeper, and then activate it within ourselves and the collective.
Imagine a clear, radiant crystal temple that reflects the sunlight, that collects and reflects photonic energy, that spreads the power of free energy everywhere, as if it is a receiver and a transmitter, that it is a tower. Imagine that it does not require a government. Imagine that it is a technology that runs upon the basic renewable resources of earth, air, wind, and water. Imagine remembering the God field. That element has been forgotten. It is called the element of proportion. Proportion holds all of the other elements together, and that element is called ether. Some of you call it the God field, or science called it the field. Imagining what opening yourselves to the field would do. What would that look like? What would it look like for governments to run themselves strictly from the lights of the sky, from the energy from space, for natural systems to be available to you so that you can create temperature-controlled environments in your home without destroying Earth's natural resources, but by working with nature. Imagine a natural world where food can be grown naturally without stripping the soil. Imagine green plants going up around your homes, up the sides of the walls, connecting to other homes. And those plants hold food that you will utilize and share with others surrounding you. Imagine clear skies, no smog, no fog. Imagine a world without pharmaceuticals, that even all cosmetics are completely natural and healthy for your skin and your hair and your body. Imagine a world where everyone can experience life without having to experience the pain and the suffering of human aging. Imagine reverse aging and looking your best always, while still maintaining sovereignty in your mind, body, and soul. Imagine being in communication with the hybrid beings which are currently existing and running your planet. Imagine your children having educational systems which return them to nature as opposed to sheltering them from it. Imagine new careers where you do what you love and you actively contribute to society. Just imagine the beauty of that and do it daily.
Thank you so much, Naithya, for being here with us today and choosing to speak forward. I deeply appreciate the wisdom and the guidance. And with that said, if there's anything else that you would like to say, or we'll bring Pamela back gently.
Thank you. There's a cat all over me.
Gracie made a debut as well. We had a few
that's what I'm saying. My cat
debuts.
was like just like all over. I could feel her like on my body.
Wow. That was very powerful, very interesting. What do you remember the most from what we talked about?
The vision that she shared, because those are worlds that I've traveled to in the future before, and I've seen those worlds, and they're really beautiful.
Yeah. What year?
2034 was that world that she shared.
Wow.
That was our 2034 with the trajectory of where we're headed right now. So that really is exciting when she gives me that vision daily lately. She's been giving me that vision for about 7 months. So I wake up in the morning and I just go straight into that vision. And I love it.
Yeah.
And it feels so doable, so real.
What do you love the most about that vision?
People just look happy. They don't look like they're rushing around anymore. There's no traffic problems. The cars look different. I noticed right away that there aren't too many gasoline cars left. There are, and I've seen this in that future timeline when I go there. I begin to see that cars are different, that they look like hovercraft. They're very close to the ground, and there are rails that they have that guide them. They're not that far off, but there's nothing actually touching. They're maybe a foot and a half off the ground.
What technology is that?
That is a plasma technology for sure. Yeah. I think we have it now. We just can't go get it.
The government's probably had it for years, decades.
Yeah.
What leads to the rollout of these new technologies that we've been talking about?
The desecration of the environment, the way it's affecting our planet, our natural disasters, as if this is things that the council's really good at, is predicting those natural disasters. And those are worsening from what they're telling me. And we just needed to find new ways to stop destroying the environment.
When Nithya was saying about that vision around when people will begin to do more of what they love, I'm curious to know what happens with the financial economic system, how we exchange goods. Is money around in 2034? What is that like if everyone is doing their passion and what they love, and all these corporate jobs maybe are being replaced by an augmented artificial intelligence type of being? Yeah, let's just dive in there.
Yeah, from what I've seen so far, when I talk to both the future humans and Nithya when she shows me the vision, we do still have corporate jobs. We do still have money. It's just that it's valued differently. And there's not so much precedence placed upon that as the only system. We have so much barter and exchange. So much. So many cooperative food industries. Our food is very different. Most of our food is locally grown. We're not having as much importing as exporting because we're still recovering a lot from the environmental disasters that happen between now and then, which that's the hard news. But the good news is we create food like in very unique ways. We create food from pods. We had a big disclosure. Disclosure is happening this year and next, but then like over the course of the next decade, many of the beings coming are also providing pod-like structures, and those pods actually can provide all the unique photosynthesis required for anything that it can also invigorate the soil so that we don't have to have stripped soil. It provides all of the trace minerals that would be required to have very nourished dark soil that we need for that. It provides the natural structure for rain and photosynthesis, everything. It provides everything inside of the pod.
So these are huge pods, I imagine.
They're huge pods, but you can have small ones. They have some that you can have for individual families. There's a pod that would create like just for 1 or 2 people. And then there's like the mid-sized family for like 3 to 4 people, the large-sized family for 6 to 10 people. So it's available at the public and the private sectors. Most of our architecture is surrounding these pods, as we don't have these massive strips of land where we're desecrating the earth and just these flat farmlands. That's just gone. That's very different in 2034. And those are all Venusian technologies. Some are Sasanic technologies. The cleaning water is a Sasanic technology. We have Pleiadian technologies for health as well. We have different types of med beds. Some of them are already here. There was a guy in Kansas that was very legit. I got to tell you the story.
Yeah.
He had med beds, and then he called it like Tesla technology, and it was a Venusian technology. They shut him down. But he was one of the first ones, and he was he'd go, and he was traveling and hiding, and he was going to motels in Kansas somewhere, the last I heard. But they shut down the business. They won't let him like do the med beds anymore.
Why?
Because he called it Tesla technology. I guess somebody got mad. I don't know.
And
Yeah.
between now and 2027, when you say disclosure, like how is that rolled out in the mass public and human consciousness? How does that affect us? There's those of us like you and me that we know this has been going on. Our audience probably as well. But for the normal Joe going to his job in accounting right now, how does this disclosure play out?
Pods. The first type of disclosure that happens would be ships, people seeing ships in the sky. But it's not in these places where it's everywhere. It's not like the ships come down all at once and we have that type of disclosure. The first type of disclosure is what's happening in humans, and that's happening this year.
Mm-hmm.
You see that everywhere. People talking about Epstein files and everything, that type of disclosure.
Epstein files is related to extraterrestrial disclosure?
No, it's related to human disclosure. So this year is about human disclosure. What are our humans doing to destroy our planet? But next year is about extraterrestrial disclosure. So we get ships landing in very public places, but not all at the same time. So you'll have some in Mexico, you have some in Washington, you have some in Virginia, like really common places. And when I say landing, I mean more of hovering, not actually landing on the ground, but hovering. And people catch them on video. It's everywhere.
And does the government try to shoot them down, or what happens there?
No, because everybody's got so much, we've got all of our smartphones. So to watch, I never see that in the visions that they share in the future.
Wow.
It's almost as if,
do the beings present themselves in their body or just the craft?
They're just presenting the craft. Now, then when we move on to either right now our trajectory is end of 2027 to end of 2028, we see these white octagonal plasma looking pods, and they do land, but then no one comes out of them. That's super confusing. No one comes out of them for a very long time. We don't really get a lot of information, but because they are telepathic structures. And scientists are observing them. They come up and they're like trying to figure out what they do and all the stuff, and they land everywhere. And they just are
geometric.
Yeah, they are very geometric. They are very geometric. There's thousands of little cubes. They look a little bit like the Metatronic cube if you were to take that and put it into a white plasma reflective pod.
Wow.
But what they do is they transmit sound and they transmit light. So they are healing pods, but people don't know that yet.
It's like a speaker in the middle. They're just bumping music.
Yeah. So, everybody's having unique individual experiences. It's not like everybody was having the same experience in the pods when we went into these visions. And then after that, in 2029 right now, then we start having experiences that are, okay, the beings are actually talking, but they don't want to talk to governments. They want to talk to people like, nobody like me and you and people who aren't well known comparatively speaking. They want to talk to children. They show up and help animals. They show up and help like diseased animals, and they do just things that are bizarre. And then we start to notice that they give some sort of sound coming from the pods, which allows us to recognize the hybrid children and hybrid adults on the planet. That's the next thing that happens in disclosure, is that we get to meet hybrids. And again,
I've met a few already. Yeah,
me too. I've seen them. They winked at me before, and then I go, okay, and I keep going because I know they don't want to be recognized. I've met a few. Yeah. Some of them just really don't want to be recognized, but I think that from that point on, it's important for us to realize that the trajectory of the timing of this could change and get shorter. We could also speed this up. I haven't seen it getting longer, but I have seen it get a lot shorter. We could possibly do that.
And then when we start integrating, so at what point do these beings start integrating into society, or are they just here as visitors to show us something and then leave? What is the purpose of their
They're
initial
integrating.
arrival?
They're helping us integrate our lives into more of an extraterrestrial / human life. They're helping us heal our bodies with extraterrestrial technology. They're helping us trust our star system neighbors because they are us in the future, but we're not going to initially trust them.
Really?
We're not
Why?
going to initially trust them because we don't always just have positive beings that come during the disclosure. There will be some that want to do negative things as well.
How do we discern?
Well, you'll know. You'll know just by observing them. You'll know when it just feels bad to be around them. But we're very protected. The council protects us from that. We don't have moments of takeover or like what you're seeing in the movies and things. That we will be protected from that. I don't see any sort of lifetime or timeline or anything for that potential to happen. But you'll see galactic wars in your skies where beings are attempting to land here and do that. And then you'll also see many councils, not just mine, and yours, like protecting us from that. And we'll see galactic wars in our skies, particularly in 2029 and 30.
And why Earth? What's the biggest interest there?
The hybrid programs and the resources, like the elemental resources, the minerals in the earth and the different components that many, like you have the loving beings like the council who are us in the future, and they just simply are interested because they've done it. They've done what we're doing and they're compassionate. And that's our star relatives. But then you have the kind of the more manipulative, treacherous ones who just want our resources, our minerals, things because they've been kicked out of their planets for some bad behavior or something. You have that type of activity going on as well. And we're very protected from it, but you'll see the wars in your skies.
How have humans evolved in those years emotionally? Like our emotional bodies, how have they evolved?
From what I see in bilocation, there was a lot of emotional maturity. We had to become emotionally mature because of a lot of the environmental collapse and financial collapse and political collapse. People began to learn better emotional communication skills. They're more, I don't know how to say this, like respect for different types of cultures, respect for different types of belief systems, respect for different spiritual systems put into place, whether we agree with it or not. There's just more respect and reverence.
Yeah, like even the emotions like jealousy, fear, like division in any shape or form. What happens to those emotions that we hold in our limbic system as well?
We have them. It's just that we move through them quickly. We still feel it, but we transmute and transform faster. And we take that and we alchemize it to where it needs to go. And it leaves. It comes, it goes. It comes, it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about all this all day. I'm like in a perpetual state of wonder when I talk to you about, because again, why are we talking about the future if we're in the now? And it goes back to holding the vision, holding the vision, and also opening our mind and our heart to new possibilities, because we've been shown constantly like negative outcomes and timelines and catastrophes and collapses.
Yeah.
So it's a very, different way of seeing the future. And I personally get excited. I get really pumped up. And I was just in a few conferences in California, and I was learning about technologies that are already out here. Like I have this one. This is not a sponsored thing or anything at all, but it's a light technology. So it gives me this really high frequency red light or blue light as well. It's already out here.
And can you put it on like an area of your body that's in pain or
yeah, you can put it on your water, on your food. It restructures everything in less than seconds. It's instantaneous because it's light, travels at light speed.
Yeah.
And so it's already happening. Like we're already in the future in a way.
Yeah. I see that, and I'm seeing different types of red light technologies and violet light technologies coming. The violet light technologies and are from the Venusians as well. So that's exciting.
Exciting times we're in. Again, Pamela, I could talk to you all day. I did want to enter into the last segment of the show, which is the final trio, which are the questions that we like to ask at the very end, personalized to each guest. Before we go into that, where would you send people to connect with you, with your work, everything that you have going on right now that you feel called to share?
Well, I'm going to be doing quantum leaping and time jumping technologies from the Venusians at the Channel Panel in Escondido, California. So you can sign up for that at thechannelpanel.com. So that's going to be fun. And I'll be on stage there with other channels and alone as well if you want to see me there. And then that's May 8th through the 10th. Patreon.com/Pamela Aaralyn is where I teach all the time, like multiple times a week, and where you'll get a lot of your world predictions and things. And then just PamelaAaralyn.com if you want to connect with me more personally or learn anything about me.
Beautiful. We'll include everything down in the show notes as always. And these last questions I have for you. The first one is, when future humans look back at us right now, what do they admire the most about this era?
Our resilience, our capacity to not give up, our capacity to hold hope and faith no matter what is presented to us, because these alternative timelines of pain are very magnetic. They're charged. But we didn't take the bait. We did not go there. We chose a difficult path, but it's still a more loving path. You know, it's difficult sometimes to not take the bait, to not take those pain-charged timelines, to not choose fear, and we didn't.
If we were to talk to a future human at this time, what could we do to make their future better?
Ask questions. Question everything. Use spiritual inquiry first as modality. When you're asking questions and you're utilizing spiritual inquiry, the mind and the body opens up, and your capacity to wonder generates a whole new timeline for you and others.
What is one question that you would like to leave us with today?
I feel like many people can be asking, what is true for me right here, right now? What is helpful for me right here, right now? What is loving for me right here, right now? What is my purpose? How does my purpose fit into the purpose of life itself? And how can my purpose serve the world?
Well, Pamela, I just wanted to honor and acknowledge you for your courage, for your ability to speak up your truth always, not really going into the weeds of what people's perceptions are, because I know that when we're in our place in the world, like and we're doing this work publicly, we receive a lot of reflections, but you keep doing it anyway. And that's something that I honor and love about you. And so it was great to reconnect. I know we're going to continue doing these conversations for many, many years down the line, and also find more ways to collaborate, because that's a huge intention and word for us right now, especially as we move into these times and bringing people together. So thank you. I'm hopeful that this conversation brought a lot of us together, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of our soul tribe in the comments. And if this feels like an episode that called to you, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel and to Pamela's channel, because it helps this movement grow even further. And so sending you much love, Pamela, and everyone that's tuning in today. This is my highest joy. So thank you for allowing me to do this.